All right, I hope I'm getting a few of you back in here. There you are, hon. See? I'm right here. Whew. I'm over here. Thump, 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 thump. You gotta kind of catch my breath here and realign. Scared the heck out of me. Oh, all right. There's Rick. A few of you are making it back in. I appreciate it, guys. Sorry about that. Whew, freaked me out. So thank you for coming back in. I didn't mean to run off like that, but I was concerned. Nope, you haven't lost me, hon. Yeah, my wife, she couldn't get a hold of me, didn't see me live. It must have been like that time Bubba said one time, he goes, man, did you go live? And I said, yeah. I said, I went 2 hours, and he said, I couldn't find you. It didn't show you that you were live. So it must have not been showing you that I was live, and then I didn't answer. Yeah. Well, I didn't answer because I was live the first time, but it only rang once, and I thought, oh, she's butt dialed me. And then it rang again. That's when I told everybody, I said, I got to go. She wouldn't call during my live if it wasn't important, so. Oh, don't apologize at all, hon. There wasn't nothing wrong with that at all. Like I said, I was just glad that you were okay. I thought something was wrong with you. You don't ever hesitate to call if you need me. All right, if Terry finds his way back in here, or if he is back, I don't know. Hey, Todd, thank you for coming back in. Sorry, was just checking to make sure everything was okay. Everything is good, guys. Jenny is actually in here now. She couldn't get a hold of me and was worried because I wasn't answering the phone, and she couldn't find me on the lives for whatever reason. And she was thinking something was wrong with me. So once Terry gets back in here, I'm going to work on a piece of his Horse Creek here that I got a couple of little small pieces of it. I got a really big piece of it from him that I've been eyeballing, but I don't know what I want to make out of it yet. I haven't. Kimberly, thank you for the follow. I appreciate it. And guys, we just got to 5,000 followers on the page or the account or whatever this is, how you refer to it. Our next giveaway threshold, I'm going to do something at 10,000 followers. So if we can get to 10,000, well, Todd, it may have been that. I mean, mine gets sketchy sometimes here for sure. Terry said it was skipping a little bit this morning, but I don't know if that could have been his and not mine because I didn't have anybody else say anything. But Out here, it's definitely a possibility all the time. There's Terry. Yeah, it ended, and then, well, what happened was Jenny was trying to get a hold of me, Terry, and she tried to call me. She couldn't find me on live, and she thought I'd overslept or something was wrong. So she was trying to get a hold of me to check on me, and I was sitting here going, well, she wouldn't call me during the live if it wasn't something important, so I got off here quick. All right, well, that's a good spot to end this piece here, because I've just created a little bit of a fun spot for me for later. All right, so we've got it kind of ingrained. It was freezing up. Tatted Park Ranger, I appreciate it, man. That's, you know, if you got questions, if you got anytime, guys, I'm not gonna get irritated. There's no dumb questions. I guarantee you, if you're new to napping, or even if you're not new but you just want to, you know, just something that you don't understand, feel free to ask. You know, if you're thinking it, there's other people at a similar level of your experience that are thinking it too. Courtney, thank you for the follow. So, you know, feel free to ask questions and comment on stuff, and you know, because that's the resources that are out there now to be able to talk real time with somebody that naps. You know, all the YouTube and all that stuff that's out there. You know, there's resources to learn, but it's not very often unless you go to like a nap in or a gathering, primitive skills type stuff. You know, you may not know another person that flint naps. So, you know, there's several really good nappers on here that, you know, you're able to, well, Ed, Mark McDaniel's another good, you know, there's some guys that I watched some of Mark's videos when I first started learning vertical punches. It was before he was using the horizontal punch setup similar, you know, to this, but he would use these drift punches. And I had watched several of his videos on YouTube when I was learning to do those years ago. So another very experienced napper. So by all means, ask questions. Hit that with a warm up. Got the carafe and the coffee out. Like I said, guys, this time change, I wish they would leave it right here. Nappy Pappy, good morning. I'm gonna tell you what, you guys in your videos make me really happy that I've got a great face for radio, Pappy. You know, I haven't plastered my face out there for you to make a dance video for me. Well, guys, I'm glad you were able to make it back in here. Crisis averted this morning. Oh, mine's coming, is it? Well, yeah, DJ, that's kind of where I'm at, and you know, I mean, I know it's dark until 8 o'clock in the morning in the wintertime, but you know, it's dark by 5, so what's the trade-off? You know, it's like, I don't know, driving to work or from work in the dark, one or the other. So anyway, this is a beautiful little piece of Horse Creek, and I'll tell you what, it's getting close to that, Nomad. It's not, we're about 2 weeks here from what I call a good sap run. I mean, the maple trees, we're starting to get some. So yeah, in our area, it's right on time. I've got enough glue to last me for a while. I made up some the last time I processed a bunch, but yeah, this is the time. Kimberly, I'm making arrowheads, but I do make arrows Right on. There you go, Nomad. Yeah, Kimberly, I make arrowheads or knife. Like we made this one live here last month. I did the handle, the hafting portion of it all live on TikTok. We made the stone blade, and then I carved this is just a piece of an elm tree out of my backyard that we turned into a handle for it. But yeah, you can make stone tools is what we're getting ready to start doing here. All right, well, let's bust into this little one. Now this is where, you know how I always say that everything is basically the same. It's just a bigger tool or a bigger, like you obviously wouldn't hit a rock this size with a rock this size. I mean, you could, but when you hit it, this is going to rebound, and you're not wanting it to fly away from your percussor. Now you can hold it tighter and increase the mass of this by by your hand and the weight that you're as hard as you're holding it. But the rebound that you feel from this actually is detrimental to trying to transfer that energy. Well, right on, Kimberly. Yeah, well, the thing about it is just because I'm making North American artifact, or I'm replicating or reproducing North American artifacts, every single culture in the world, no matter where you come from in the world, your ancestors chipped stone tools to live. Even the Neanderthal, the Mousterian, their technologies, blade cores, they were doing that before modern humans were even a thing. So no matter where you come from, your ancestors did this. So it's a skill that you can learn. It's something that is applicable, like I said, to any. Let's see, I'm looking for just it's a little bit smaller, harder. That's what I'm looking for. I wanted something. This is just a little smaller, but it's a little kind of a hard texture. You hear how high pitched that click is compared to this will be duller. And I'll use the more gritty one for little turning flakes, but when I want to just peck, I want something that's just got this little hard edge, and I can just, because when you start off with a rock this small, I mean, you can see this thing is not very big at all. If I go into this too aggressively, I'm going to lose a lot of material, and I'm not going to be able to make a very big point out of it. So again, what we do is I'll look down this point and figure out where I can get the largest finished point out of it, and for me it's right along this axis, kind of an angle. So then I'm just going to take into removing everything that's not that. Find a good spot here to. See those little flakes, I'm not trying to take like big edge turning flakes. I'm just trying to start adjusting that to where I want them to come off clean. Boy, this is pretty rock, really pretty rock. I'm just trying to get some edges that I can get a hold of with my punch, that I can conserve material that way. Now this has got a crack that runs through it like this, so I'm going to try to eliminate this side that's got this little lump. That's where that fracture, you can see it kind of starts right here, and this realistically this whole area right here is going to be gone, so I'm going to concentrate this way. Now that Jermaine, I wouldn't be able to tell you. I'm not A lot of it, you know, would have to do with where you're from. But I'm not a geologist. I do have some knowledge of geology in some areas, but that I wouldn't be able to tell you. Sorry about that. All right, I'm going to try to take a big flake that's kind of wrapped and try to take a lot of this off of it, or it's going to expose that crack, and a lot of that we're going to lose. But either way, I'm trying to get rid of that so I can really see what I've got to work with here, because this end is just rounded off. So I'm trying to find a way to get back to it, to, you know, to work side to side, similar to this. Even though this is beveled to one side, you can see it's starting to get that little serpentine type edge to it. No. Whoops, I dropped it. But that's what I was trying to get it to run. It didn't run all the way, but it took a big portion of that out. And just like we've done before, now I'm just zigzagging that. And try to get under this little seam. It's definitely it gets chattery in a big seam, and you can see how that right here off this end. So we're gonna I'm gonna come at it from the other side. Excuse me. Work my way around that way to it. If I would continue going the way I was going to lose a lot of material, and this way I might be able to come in and cheat that just a little bit. Like that. Now I'd expose that crack. Let's see how, you know, when we talk about that mineralization underneath those, that's how you can tell, and that's that area that I told you we were probably going to lose because of that. Hey, Deer Trail, what's going on? But when you have that mineralization like that in a seam, that seam has been open. That wasn't something that I did that broke it there. All it did was expose that crack. But that we knew that was there, and you can see how now we have a little bit more of a little uniform hockey puck kind of thing. And I've got an easy way to get into an area that was going to cause me a lot of problems. Kenny, I'm glad to hear it. All right, let's see if we can. A nice little edge turning, and you can see how these flakes, they'll start to, see how it's starting to build a convexity in that. That's the first thing that you want to do is really start, you don't want to clear the whole thing and throw these big flakes across it until you've got some convexity built. You can see this side, we're basically making a turtle back, you know, with the intent that we're gonna flatten one side, and then we'll start working back to this side. It's just the way that the rock kind of worked out, but it's a good reduction strategy for chunkier pieces like that. If you're trying to go constantly back and forth, you're having to adjust this edge up and down and up and down, and all you're doing is wearing your material away, setting up a platform. You know, it's kind of like what we said before. use the material, there it is. Use the material that you know you're going to lose if it's already set up that way. Don't waste it by resetting another direction. When you need to take, you know, material, just use those kind of opportunistic spots. See, like this little, just the little spurs like that. I'm going to be able to pull off a little blending flake right here. Just like that, and it went all the way over here and kind of turned into that. It's another little spot right there. You just, when your initial stages, you should be thinking you want to make like a kind of a flat football, you know, to reduce it down. And I'll show you what I mean here in just a second, because I'm getting really close to that stage. Come on. There it went. All right. Right here. Saul Sanchez Garcia, thank you for the follow. I appreciate it. And we see we just took that flake right down the top of that little, what ridge was left of that. There's another one over here. That's my little platform, and you can see the ridge and the mass that we're trying to remove. That's where it got chunky a while ago, and I decided to go at it from this side. So we're just going to use that little point right there. I'm going to put that ridge on the bottom of where I want to hit, and I'm going to support right underneath that. Press in, and it's just basically like, you know, like a sideways or fluting it from the edge. That piece went all the way up the side and removed a lot of mass that we were needing to get rid of. Now we've got this little hump right here. We've got a platform that's set up, you know, close to where it needs to be, but I'm going to try the first one off from the side so I'm not losing as much length off that. I'll set up both platforms because, you know, if this first one doesn't go, I've got a backup to be able to get that mass off there. But I think I can at least get a bigger portion of it with this and then clean it up from the tip and not have to take as big a flake. Yeah, like that. See, that ran right over the top of that. And now what's left for that little off this tip is just a little blending type flake. I can get it to grab. Come on. There it went. See, and I hardly lost any of the length off that. Trying to grab just this tiniest little nub on this thing. Well, I thought I got it on that one. Well, we'll go off to the side of it just a little. There we go. All right, now you can see now we're a little thinner on the base and the tip, and most of our mass, extra mass, is here in the center. So we're going to try to got a little bit of material we're going to lose here. So let me clean that edge up. I'm just going to turn it, just do like a zigzag, like I've shown you guys. It's not. I'll take a down flake like that, and then use that removal for the next platform. and just kind of hook into the edge of it. I'm not hitting it hard. I'm just enough to keep zigzagging and taking these small little flakes off of it. Now this is not a very big edge to work like that, but the principle's the same if it's like a big large square edge that you're trying to work off. There we go. Oh, that's the culprit. It's cracked right there. There we go. Tatted Park Ranger, I appreciate it, but I'm telling you, I promise you, the only difference is that I've spent more time doing this. When I switched over to these tools, I used to use copper tools. It's what I started off when I first was trying to learn, with a mixture of both copper and antler and stone tools, and napped that way on and off for a long time, but never really, I napped, but I didn't practice and I didn't try to get better. I was making the same stuff, and I did it for a long time. And when one day I was looking at napping videos on YouTube, and I ran across Marty Reuter using antler and stone tools, and I was just like, that's how I'm supposed to nap. And since then, I've just dedicated a bunch of time. I mean, and like I said, it's not something that, it's kind of like I use, playing guitar. Hey, Zach, good morning. But, if you play guitar or want to learn to play guitar, if you play that guitar or practice for, 5 minutes a month, then it's going to take an awful long time to get any better. This is a skill that's much the same. If you don't nap regularly with the intent to practice, to get better, you're just smacking rocks, then what will end up happening is you're going to, and nothing against it. Like I said, Frosty, thank you for the follow. I appreciate it. But I've got, I know people that I've known for 20 years, and their work looks exactly the same as it did 20 years ago. And there's nothing wrong with that, because, it's the same thing. I've known people that play guitar that they play the same 5 songs that they played the first time I ever heard them play, and that's all they play. But if, with practice and time spent doing this, like purposeful, you can get better. I just have spent a lot of time doing it. Dubs, Dubs Scoroil, thank you for the follow. You're testing me this morning, guys. It's awful early yet. It's just, what? Normally it would just now be time to start. John, thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah, that's really. Can you? Hey, Dubs. I'm just gonna call you Dubs. All right, Dubs. Try to make it through that scoroil, I guess, maybe. Right on. Yeah, I'm just I'm working down a piece of beautiful Horse Creek chert that was gifted to me by, Terry's in here, I think. Terry Roseberry. I've worked quite a bit of the material that he sent me. I've got a really big piece of it down here that I'm waiting for a day when I'm just on my game and I'm gonna tackle it. I don't know if I'll do it live, but no, this time change throws me off. Everything just feels, walking around in a little bit of a daze almost. Right on, Dubs. Well, this is, I don't know for certain, nobody does because none of us were there, but these tools were at least available to for sure to the paleo cultures on this continent. Antler and bone and stone tools were what was traditionally used, and in some areas, the Great Lakes areas, some of that, there was copper available also that was used to a certain extent later on. But most of the true, like the oldest points that were made here on this continent were absolutely made with antler and stone tools. There we go. I was needing that flake. I was trying to get under that little crusty spot right here. But yeah, this is by no means the only way that they did it. If you're, I mean, there's as many ways to use these tools as there were people using them. Oh, absolutely, Dubs. There's, like I said, it's just like, but it's just like playing guitar, guys. I mean, you know, when I first started flint knapping, my leg was sore, my arms were sore, my hands were sore. I still get, you know, it still tests me physically because of my injury, but at times when I nap a little bit more than I normally do, I can feel it. It's a fairly physical undertaking. It really is. See, that was what we were trying to get the angle for. You can see a little bit of that white there. That's what's left of some of the antler that scraped off on that platform. But you can see how it was set up right over the top of all that. And how it just flattened that out really nicely. But no, guys, if you want to learn to do this, I encourage you to pick up some tools and give it a try. It's definitely something that you can learn, I promise you. You know, it's just the amount of time that you spend practicing makes a big difference. I sit out here, you know, other than when I'm live, sometimes if I'm feeling up to it, I'll come out and chip for a while with a specific thing in mind. This weekend was taking a little bit of a break with the percussion and indirect percussion, but I was doing some pressure flaking, working on, well, fulsome pressure, you know, like the side or the finish flaking on fulsomes, and was just concentrating on getting those flakes to look and act just like I wanted them to. And I spent probably 3 hours. John, thank you. I appreciate it. Well, you know, when we started off, I mean, if you were in here when I started this, that thing has not lost hardly any length or size to it, really, to speak of. Now, we're going to lose some more here in this. Oh, and helping you with jewelry. That is correct, honey. Yeah, the wife and I, Jenny and I, were working on, she is starting to make some jewelry. And we were going through a bunch of stuff that she recently purchased and putting some stuff together. So here before long, we should have some more stuff up on her TikTok, and then we're going to start selling some of that in our Etsy shop. So we'll be sure to let you guys know when that stuff starts coming out. I'm just happy for her. She's kind of found her flint knapping, so to speak. You know, when I watch her get lost in that jewelry making process the same as I do, well, for like when I came out to practice my flaking. You know, you just kind of lose time in it. It's weird to me. It's always like it's a surprise almost when the live is over in the mornings. If I'm not watching on the clock kind of regularly, it goes by fast, because that's one of the things that, you know, I appreciate you guys is basically you're sitting here watching me practice, you know, and asking questions. But when I'm showing you how to do this, I'm trying to show you the way that's what I think is the correct way. Well, thank you, hon. She's trying to embarrass me in here this morning. But yeah, I like to repurpose and reconfigure stuff. That's one of the things that I really like about flint knapping. To me, is it's really it's basically sculpting, you know. Hey, Brizzo, good morning. Yeah, John. Now we're gonna lose a little bit here on this because once you get to this stage, I'm gonna have to pull these edges down. But we're probably half as thick as we were, and there's a piece of the original Cortex is still on the back end of this, and I've probably lost maybe a quarter of an inch off the front. So, Chasing Fins, good to see you. I hadn't seen you in a while. So what we've got here is, if you look at this edge here is kind of undercut, and you've got a little bit of a turtleback on the other side. You can see how the areas of thickness. So we're going to try to set up by going down this way to set up angles to come back over the top of this mass. Let me get into a little bit of a rhythm here so I can, there we go. I like doing this with a hammerstone and kind of a smaller, the way I'm holding it, instead of hitting directly down on it, I'm kind of hitting it from the side and brushing it. And what that's essentially doing is changing the effective mass of this rock and what it's doing to this one. I want something that's just kind of bouncing and just dragging little flakes off. I'm not trying to take a big removal out of it. I just want to have this edge come up this way. Too bad they don't have a time machine. Oh, I'd love to go back and sit and watch. I would love that. See, now as you're doing this, you're building convexity, but what you're going to start seeing is, now you see that I've got these little platforms that are set up to this face. Even though this is our flat face, we can continue to use those to contour that piece. You know, it's kind of like what I've said before. When you're doing this, take advantage of any opportunistic platforms that you have. And that one happens to be a nice one for contouring this. JBR, appreciate that. Thank you. Zayden, thank you for the follow. Maverick, thank you for the follow. Well, guys, if you've got questions, I mean, like I said, feel free to ask. I'm happy to answer any questions. See, that's not a big flake, but what that did, that's one of those little nubs that we had. But you see how that just went out to about the middle and just tapered out. And since it's thicker where it came off than it is where it tailed out, you're building convexity. And by doing that, it's giving me, it's bringing this edge up this way and giving me an angle to get back over this mass here that we want to get rid of. Dubs, I do. We've got an Etsy store or Etsy shop. I don't know, I guess that's the term. And there's a link on my profile page. If you want to, you go right up here and click on my little thing and go to my profile page. There's links to all that. So if you'd like to check it out, you are more than welcome, and I appreciate it. But like I've told you guys, I mean, I sell stuff, but this is not a ShamWow commercial, you know. Well, now I sign my work, Dubs, and I don't just be careful. I don't promote, art of faking. So just be careful with that kind of stuff. But I do mark my work. So, well, it's a touchy subject around collectors to say anything close to that, especially for somebody that uses tools like I do, because it eliminates some of the obvious issues when people are trying to do that. So, yeah, I just be careful about that, because lots of folks will get really, really upset over that situation. And I try to avoid that if possible. Yeah, no worries. No, I'm not, it's all good. Like I said, I just, I know how I address that. And, I do what I can to make sure that my work doesn't end up somewhere that somebody thinks it's real. But at the same time, I am trying to reproduce points with the same materials and similar tools. I don't know if they're, exactly, but I know that the essential makeup is same. So, see these little turn flakes, these little, that's where the thinness and your convexity come from. See that little tiny flake? I'm not trying to take... Well, right on, Dubs. Yeah, like I said, Todd, now, don't down your work. I'm telling you, it just takes time. It just takes time sitting in a chair doing it. And everybody has days where, it's just like any other undertaking. If you play golf or if you play music but if you play golf, if you have some days, man, where you're just on fire. I mean, you can't hit a bad shot. Hillbilly Customs, thank you, I appreciate it. Well, I tell you what though, Terry or Todd, just watch the negative talk on yourself. I mean, I do believe that, I'm trying to get better. I'm horrible at it. I beat myself up over a bunch of stuff quite a bit, but just, if you're really making an attempt to get better, look for the wins. Look for I did that exactly like what I wanted to, or that flake went right where I wanted it to. And look at it. It's like, I don't know if you play golf. I used to play golf before my injury years ago. But, you want to end on a good shot. You hit a good shot. Right on. See, and Todd, that's the thing. At the end of the day, as long as you're making a functional tool that you're happy with, man, that's all that matters, The other part of it will come. It will. It just, if you put in the time to get better, you will get better. That's just the way it is. So there's another little fun one. So I'm turning this edge to get back to this side, but you can see there's that little nub right there with a little bit of mass on the back side of that. Again, not a big flake, just a little blendy type flake. Now that one went a little deeper than I wanted it to, but it was flat, so that's good. I got that one to line up next to it. So yeah, and that's, Todd, that's where it gets, but the thing about it is now, depending on where you're from, a big blade could mean a few different things. The area that I'm from, typically most of the artifacts that are found here are probably between 1 inch to 1.5 inches to about 3.5 inches. Anything over that is a sizable point. 3.5, 4 inches, 5 inches, Those are huge blades where I'm from. Now, if you live in Texas, obviously you've got a lot of the bigger material, so you had bigger blades. But it all comes down to support on that piece, and then just not shocking the rock. As you get bigger like that, we'll do a big blade. I tell you what, I'll get out a big piece of like dark obsidian this week, and we'll do a bigger blade and talk about the support on it, and I'll see if I can't break one in front of everybody. But I think I've got a, Brandon, thank you for the follow. I've got a big piece of dacite that it's like the black butter obsidian. If not, I've got another piece of it around here somewhere. So something that'll show up real well on camera so that we can discuss it. Hillbilly Customs, thank you for the follow. Hey GMC Sierra, how you doing? I'm doing well this morning. I was complaining about the time change stuff. I wish they'd leave it alone, but other than that, not too bad. All right, I almost did what I've told you guys. They're starting to show up, Todd. Yes, sir. I've got a few more downloaded, but we're getting close to it. So I should have it to where every few days, within a few days of the live, it'll be loaded on YouTube. So thank you for checking that out. I appreciate it. Guys, if you'd like to see any of the lives that you've missed, I got them back, I think now, into all the way back starting of February, earlier February. So we're going to get to where we, each day, like I said, within a day or two, the live for that day will be up. So, but no, I almost did what I've told you guys not to. I've got a area that's thin on both sides of this, and a big lip. That thing is going to want to break at these edges unless I isolate that platform a little bit. And when you're isolating a platform to run on a ridge, you want to try to take off everything that's not in line with that ridge. And I'll show you what I mean once I get this set up, and you'll see it's now that big ridge that we had is now this little spot right here. And there's the ridge that was behind it, and you can see how it's now isolated. You see how that everything around that is all lowered, and that has only one place to run, and I'm hoping it comes out here and takes a lot of that mass right here out. And I'm telling you, Zach, I wish they would. I wish they would everywhere. I'm tired of it. It throws me off for a while. Now see how that flake traveled right down that ridge and went all the way over from here to here. And it wasn't a big flake, but you could see how it adjusted the overall contours, and that's what we're trying to do. This side looks really nice. You can see the ordered flakes, how I've got 3 big removals and then smaller ones in between. And this side, there's a little bit of a ridge right here, and there's a kind of a weird little, let's see if I can get to where you can see it. See how that kind of comes up and where those flakes have all ended over here. I'm going to try to set up to come back the other direction and meet up to that before I turn to take this off this side. Here's the first little isolated spot. Hey, H2O man, how you doing? You see right there, it's got the little dust on there. And I'm just trying to get it to go right into this area right here. I'd love for it to feather into the other removals down here, but if it goes and just takes most of it, that'll be great. See, and that went and feathered right into that other spot. And actually that one circled up and took a little bit of the upper, made my job a little easier there. But see, the goal, especially on these little small creek cobbles, can be a real pain, because you know you're starting off with a chunky piece of material, usually with rounded edges, because it's tumbled in a creek for, you know, eons. So you're trying to come at it with different reduction strategies to be able to get a decent point out of it. Now, again, if you guys came in here when I first started this morning, I mean, this thing has not lost a lot of size to be able to get to the point where we're at with it. And that's because I'm trying to go at it in an ordered way so that I'm not wasting material as I'm reducing it. I've got a spot right here. We're going to take this, another one of those little opportunistic type flakes. Not a long one, just a little blending flake. And another one here. Trying to see what order I want to come back. I've got like a little bit of a spot here. I'm going to remove that undercut side. I'm going to go downward flakes this way so that the next series will come back over this. Robert, thank you for the share. I appreciate it. So these flakes I'm taking here are not intended to be really long flakes. All I'm doing is building convexity. And as I take flakes this way, it's raising this edge to this face. But I'm not just taking random flakes. I'm trying to, I'll show you in just a second, the convexity that's starting to build. Where I just took those flakes, I was coming like this and down. And you can see how that edge, it's not really, you know, beveled or doesn't have a lot of, hey John, how you doing? Got one little thick spot right here now. I'll put it way up here. But see how that kind of looks like almost a squared edge? We're going to approach it the same way I would if it was a big spall or a big piece, or the same way we approached those earlier. I'm going to zigzag that little tiny little flake. And then we're going to use that platform to take a little flake on the other side. The little flakes, and all I'm doing is zigzagging back and forth. A couple of spots there where I could take a little blending flake. All right, so after that series, we've got, those are going to be shorter flakes there. All right, after that series, you can see that this edge is now kind of beveled towards this face. These are not going to be, shouldn't be really long, you know, tear off type flakes. These are going to get me a little bit more convexity. How low do you, Blake, it depends a lot on what I'm trying to remove. I may take another, like right here, I could take another series of flakes down and get a little bit lower angle. And depending on how these first couple of flakes go, I might do that. But I think right now I've got enough of an attack angle on it that I think I can run these pretty far across. Grizzly, the basic tools that you need to start off with is, you know, if you grab a hammer stone or two like these, and just basic, you know, basic tools. Some type of a deer antler billet, a pressure flaker, and a hand pad. And that right there, basic, is, I did a point here, I don't know, was it, guys, anybody that was in here probably 3 weeks ago, where I made a point with just a handful of tools. And that's really all you need to learn is that right there. Now, if you want to learn with traditional, you know, with the stone and bone tools, I've obviously got a whole bunch of other tools, but just the basics that you can get away with would be, you know, a grinding stone of some type, which would be your softer hammer stone, a harder percussor, an antler baton, billet, whatever you want to call it, and a pressure flaker. With those basic tools, you can make just about any point. Yep, that's right. Hurry up and buy. We are napping this morning. And with this time change, we feel like napping, N-A-P-P-I-N-G, and leave the K out of it. Yeah, I need to be a little bit, there we go. That came across this back edge of that. First one, I didn't hit it like I meant it. Like I said earlier, you have to really stay on top of the Horse Creek. If you don't hit it with authority, and you know, and I don't mean hit it hard, there's a difference. Now I gotta drag the puzzle piece, guys. Hold on just a second, sorry. Let's see if I can do it from this side. Hey, it worked. All right. Unicorn, hi, how you doing? Oh, that felt good. It's my shoulder. I've been needed to do that for a while. I don't know if that came across on the audio or not, but it audibly felt good. Now see, I just curled that one from this other direction this way. And what that did, yeah, no kidding, right, Rick? I know that's what I was saying, these time changes. But see, you can see this flake right here and how that kind of set a little bit of a ridge for this mass here. That's probably what it was, though. Yep, it'll make me drag puzzle pieces because I'm napping. Oh, that was a way better platform than that. There we go. That one went right up the next deal, and you can see there's the scar of that last flake right there. And I'm going to set up and do another one kind of up over this edge. Still trying to get used to my new pressure flake pad setup, but we're getting there. All right, now where I took those last two flakes, now you see how we're thinner here. Hurry up and buy. I have if you go right up here to my profile, click on that. I've got a pinned video at the top of my page that explains it. And then if you've got more questions when you come back in, I'll be happy to answer them. Or check it out after, but it's just it's an indirect percussion tool. It's called a horizontal shaft punch. It's just, mine is just a little bit of a different configuration than from what I've seen. But the basic idea of it is it's an antler on a stick that's isolated that I strike indirectly into the edge of the tool, or the point that I'm making. But the way that I'm holding it down is the unique part. Most everybody puts it under their legs, so. All right. Now, when you're looking at a piece and you're trying to figure out your order of attack, anytime that you're starting to lose mass and you've got big removals coming up, I want as much mass on this rock as I can on these bigger removals. I've got a couple of little platforms set up over here, but these are just going to be little blending short little turn flakes. But what they're doing is they're adding mass to this rock, even just a little bit, and with that strength, because these are going to be big flakes, and I'm going to have to hit it pretty hard to get them to carry where I want to. If I remove too much mass and got it too thin before I did this. Yeah, check it out. I've done some really good flutes. I've got some videos up on my profile also. If you're into fluting, check out my stuff. Hurry up and buy. I've got Clovis that I've done on camera, Folsoms, both sides, done all live on my TikTok here. So that's what I love. I love the paleo stuff. I've been working on. I was just going through this weekend, guys, and this is just, you want to work on a particular point style, and you want to get better. These are all set aside to rework for various reasons of failure or of something this is just a handful that I can grab right now. These I had thrown in the bucket of shame. You guys hear me talk about it a lot, but these are points. At some point, there's a there's a rollout flat fracture on a really nice profile piece of reed springs, but that piece was about that long, and when that broke, it just rolled into it. But you're gonna, there's so many breaks. I was talking to Jenny the other night about it, and I bet over the course of the last few years working on Folsom points that I've probably made, I would guess easily in the 250 to 300 range of bifaces that broke. Probably more than that. I would guess probably more than that, but conservatively 250 to 300 over the last couple of, well, 3 or 4 years. So, I mean, it's, the failures will come. You know, oh, there's another one right there that was that I went back to try to adjust. So those were ones that after they'd gone through the failure process of the Folsom, I'd set them aside to rework them later on. But Jimmy, thank you for the follow. But yeah, hurry up and buy. It's a great setup for fluting. Oh yeah. Now that was that big removal. I was telling you we were going to really, you know, that thing went all the way over here from this edge to right here. So now we're going to reline that. You can see how that, where that flake went, how it kind of got behind this area right here. Well, if I hit here, that rock wants to break here, and I'm putting stresses in it. So I'm going to take and line the edge of the platform up with the ridge that I want it to follow. And then I'm going to make a little tiny spot that's thin right there where I want it to break. You see how that's isolated and it's right in line with that mass and that ridge behind it. Put that right on the edge. That one pinched a little there. Whew. I got some skin between my... Damien, thank you for the follow. Got a little bit of skin between the preform and my ring. That one stung a little there. There it went. See how that went 2/3 of the way across there. Yeah, it's an old bow. Oh, I'm sorry. I miss another comment? I thought somebody was asking about the punch, but yeah, it's an old Osage bow. But I've got another stick over here that will work just as well. It doesn't have to be a bow. I've got a stick that I've cut that I'm, you know, travel with, or when I go set up someplace. This is kind of like my home rig, or my favorite little setup, because it's just so sturdy. But yeah, it's just, it was a modification for me. Hurry up and buy. I have done it where they were underneath my leg and on the other one, but with my back injury and my sciatic nerve and all this, to twist and have everything like that. It's why you see me sit like, you know, almost like I'm crouching, because if I sit at a certain angle, my sciatic nerve and my lower back just scream at me. So I had to modify it to where, you know, it was something that because I could see the you know, from watching Marty Reuter and a lot of these other guys that were using these punches, I saw the benefit of it, but it was just hard for me to use it because of that until I came up with something that worked for me. So, and all you're doing is, you know, I mean, I can use it underneath my leg. It's just not comfortable. I've tried different holding techniques besides the weight, but it just feels, you know, it's solid on my leg, and And I've got a different setup. I don't typically carry that 10-pound rock around with me all that much. It's just at home I like this setup. No, most generally I don't hurry up and buy. I've got, depending on the material, this is raw Horse Creek. This is, if you've never napped Horse Creek, it's tough material. This is a high grade of it, but it is no picnic to nap. But I don't work much heat treated stuff, because a lot of the points that I make are paleo. That's my favorite time frame of the artifacts is the paleo, Clovis, Folsom, into the transitional stuff. That's where I usually like to fall, and they didn't have the technology to heat treat at that point. They weren't aware of that. So they were just working raw, high grade material whenever possible. So that's what I try to do. All right, we've got this little platform right here off the tip. Right on. Yeah, I don't have a lot of paleo pieces. I've got 3. Oh, right on. Right on, hurry up and buy. That's a nice place for artifacts for sure. See, I just used that little nub that we had right there with that mass underneath it. And there's the flake. And what that's doing is it's continuing that lenticular convexity that we're going for. Now I'm going to come from the other side and line those up. And then our last few flakes of cleanup will be along this edge to try to get this a little bit out here. And dress this tool up just a little bit. Oh man, that's awesome. Yeah, I bet you do find a lot of stuff down there digging sand. Yeah, I'm not a, I know a lot of folks dig overhangs and that stuff. I'm not an artifact guy. I mean, I started off, my love for this stuff started with the artifacts, and I do love them. I mean, but I've got a buddy of mine that when we would go out looking for rock to nap, he would walk over premium napping material if he thought he saw an arrowhead, and I'm kind of the other way around. I'm not looking for arrowheads. When I'm out looking for rock, I'm looking for rock. And if I find an arrowhead, which I have on occasion, it's just happenstance. I'm looking for the material that's made out of, and just happen to see it is what it amounts to. But I sure love making them, and I sure love the chase of the material. It's kind of like a big kid Easter egg hunt, really. Now that's awesome right there. Hurry up and buy. If you've got access to some decent Georgetown, that's some wonderful material to smack around on. I would love to try some of the big pieces. There's a few guys that have access to some of that, but I would like to try to make something similar to the Sweetwater blade. I don't have the chops, I don't think, to pull anything off. And tell you somebody that's really good at was doing that. Justin, that's the way I prefer it raw if it's the good quality of it, because it's a little bit tougher. That was a good flake there. Got another one right next to it. I prefer to work it though raw, Justin, if I can. If it's the better grade. Now all of it'll work raw, but some of it is just, it gets a little bit concrete-ish. See, I'm just taking those little rollover flakes. I just wanted them to kind of give me some convexity there, and you can see. Yeah, and that's the reason I don't like it, Justin, is when you heat treat some of that, it does get, it makes it easier to nap, but it also makes it easier to break. And that's what I like about the Georgetown, is the toughness of that stone. It's one of the reasons why I enjoy working this stuff. I mean, it's tough rock, but you can do things with it that, I don't know, it takes the force, and you can do some pretty cool stuff with tougher stones sometimes, as long as they're consistent enough to get flake travel. Now, if they're just, chunking up and not running, then that's no fun for anybody. But hey, Napper Jeb, good morning. Good morning. Just working down yeah, well, but get some, Justin, if you get it from like a good reputable dealer. Curtis Smith usually has got some really good tested raw stuff. Now, there went my monitor again. What the heck? That was weird. We're back to that again. Let's see if it comes back on again here. Yep, it did. Weird. I have not had an issue with that in over a week. Yeah, Curtis Smith is a good, he'll treat you right. I mean, he's a good reputable dealer. So there was a gal that was selling some here a few years ago, and I think she tries it every once in a while, that was selling just junk. And I was one of the ones that she sent me the first box, and it was just absolutely awesome material. So I reordered another, I can't even remember. Hey, good morning, Don. I think I had, it was buy one, get one free, and I ordered 2 more boxes. So basically 4 boxes, and received 2 that were completely just crushed, crumbled junk. Then asked where my other 2 boxes were, because they were buy one, get one free, and I paid for 2 boxes. And she said, I thought I already shipped them to you. And I said, no, I have not received them. And then we went to trying to figure out, well, she had made copies of the shipping deals and tried to ship 2 different sets on for the same amount of money. Anyway, long story, just go with somebody that's reputable. Because if you don't and you get burned, it's just, it bites. Because that's one of the reasons rock is not cheap. So if you're going to spend money on it, get it from somebody that's you can trust the source. I was afraid of that. I was hoping that flake didn't detach, but it did. It gave me a little bit of a kind of a wonky spot right there behind that platform. You can see that step right in front of my fingernail. This late in the reduction process, that could cause issues on this tough stuff here. Oh, yeah, I bet you did, Justin. Byron, Curtis Smith is that I mean, there's others, and don't take it that I'm not, lobbying for Curtis, but I just know that in the community, Curtis is good, Dan Collins is good, that are, they're people that are really, making a reputation on getting you good rock at a decent price. And I know Curtis tests all his stuff, so you're going to get as good of material as he can get. All right. Right on, Kenosha. So it's getting delivered to you today, right? Make sure it wasn't coming early to me, because I'm. There, we got that little bit out of there. Right on. Thank you very much, Kenosha. I appreciate it. And I'll wait till I'll have it set over here and wait for a day when you're going to be able to watch for a while. If you'll let me know, and we will work it on the live. You guys can watch me slice and dice myself up on it. Because I can go ahead and make you a prediction right now. Because I almost never work that stuff, even a small flake of it, where I don't get cut. So I'll probably have to have some disclaimer. You know, if you're squeamish about blood, this live is not for you. Yeah, let's see. Better get this off there here before it get much thinner. Well, I tell you what, Kenosha, I really appreciate it. I'm hoping that I will give it my best shot. I appreciate when you guys gift me material. That's why I really try to wait till days where I'm feeling pretty good. I'm not going to just trash and hack through something, you know. I appreciate you spending your time and resources to send me something. True friend, thank you for the follow. All right. Well, if you were here with us from the beginning, this thing it's just about the same size as it was. I mean, I've lost a little bit, probably closer to a 1/2 inch off the tip, but I'm really close to the same profile in the back. So worked down pretty well. Got a little bit of area right here we're getting ready to work off. This right here above my finger. Well, guys, I mean, like I said, I do this. This is my passion. This is my art, you know. Well, thank you. I appreciate it, Kenosha Kinku. Like I said, this is what, you know. I'm an artist. You know, I do colored pencils. I used to paint a little bit. I'm not a painter. I'm not very good at it, but I'm good with colored pencils. But I'm telling you, there's a few artists out there that I've got to watch in here lately that are unbelievable what they're doing with colored pencils. It blows my mind. There's one lady that does pet portraits, and then there's another gentleman that does cartoon animated type stuff, and I am just blown away by the talent of some of the people that are out there, you know. Ghost Bishop, good morning. How are you doing today? In fact, I'll tell you what, guys. I know that, you know, I'm not the only person in this group that, you know, that considers himself to be an artist. Yeah, absolutely. But give it, you know, if you guys do a craft or a, you know, special type stuff like that, shout it out here real quick. You know, if there's somebody in the community that's looking for something or that might be able to help you along, shout out what you do. I think I caught a little flake in the corner of my eye here. It's watering just a little bit. Well, we're almost done. I'll go rinse it here in a bit. It's one of the things I tell you guys though, glasses, always glasses. But no, I tell you what, Kenku, I would really be, I'm looking for something specific. If you would send me a message, I want to see what, I'll have to check out some of the, if you guys could do something. Absolutely, Damien. You know, I appreciate it. I would be sitting out here in my KVO, you know, in my studio. I'd be out here napping anyway. So it's nice to have you guys join me, ask questions. But yeah, absolutely. And to tell you the truth, Kenku, when you send that obsidian, depending on how big a piece is, I may wear some type of hand protection, because I will do that. Because yeah, I've definitely got something that I'd like to talk to you about. You know, doing something specific that I'm looking for, and I'll fill you in on it when I message you. But yes, I'm just, a lot of times if I say stuff, guys, and then I try to remember it, I have it's undiagnosed, but I'm pretty sure I have ADHD, and I am horrible about remembering stuff sometimes when I'll say it. So that's why if I mention, hey, shoot me a message so I'll remember. That way I don't like not following through on what I say. That's one of the things that I'm very, so it's difficult for me at times when I say something and then I go, oh yeah, well what about, and then I forget. So thank you, I appreciate it. Kenosha Kenku. Oh yeah, there was the flake I needed off that base, guys. That just set that up perfectly. You see how look how nice that flake went all the way across that. From over here's where it initiated, and it ended right there off this edge. And the amount of mass that took off, you could see how much of that and what that did to the tail section of that piece. Now what I'm trying to do is we're trying to work to where we get this little area right here. I'm going to continue taking flakes this way, and then we're going to come back, and that piece is just about ready for finish. Thank you, I appreciate it. Yeah, that one worked out exactly like I wanted it to. And it doesn't always happen that way, but when it does, it's nice. Now see, on those flakes, I wasn't trying to drive in these big long flakes. All I'm trying to do is just maintain that convexity. And you see how we've got like a nice lens shape to this piece. What we're doing is just trying to set everything up to where all the whole platform is set up to this side. And I'll show you in just a second. Getting close to the end of the live this morning. It's like I said, that time change, it does not seem like it's supposed to be 10 o'clock yet. So hopefully tomorrow I'm not quite as out of it as I was this morning. Yesterday really threw me for a loop though. I woke up, was tired, looked at my phone, it said 7 o'clock. I got up, went to the restroom, was gonna get up, have a cup of coffee and go sit down, and I looked at the kitchen, and of course it's like analog and not connected to anything, and it said 6:02, and I thought, man, I must have looked at my phone wrong. And so I went back and just laid down, and then thinking it was 6 o'clock, and then when I woke up it was 8:45 by my phone, and I thought, good gosh, how did I sleep almost 3 more hours? And I walked out into the kitchen and realized that we'd had a time change and that my phone updated automatically and my stove did not. All right, we got this just about. Now see how we kind of led that back to that little spot. And we've got this little area of mass right there. And this doesn't have to be a big flake, but it's going to be a little important little blending flake right here. See, I just wanted it to go over the top of that little hump. Bionic Granny, thank you for the follow. I'll say this noise and I'll be able to tell this is how I'm gonna gauge the age of my people in here right now. Hey Bionic Granny, do you make the sound there when you go into bionic mode, or have they upgraded that? The $6 Million Man. Anybody remember that show? Oh my goodness. The acting was almost as bad as the storylines. It was quality television back in the day, you know. Yeah, but we only have 350. We have the technology. Yeah, I used to watch that show as a kid. There you go. That's what I'm saying. I could tell who I'm talking to if everybody knew who that was. You know, that when you see him on the first of the show, jumping over cars and all kinds of stuff. You know. Yeah, it's funny. My Jenny is. Yeah. Oh yeah. You see her crushing the pool ball. You know, that always made me cringe, even as a youngster. At the suggestion of that whole situation, I was like, yeah, hey. All right, let's get this thinned out here. Nice little thinning flake across the end there. Charlie's Angels. Watch it now. Watch it. Careful, Brizzo. You're liable to throw all of us back into a nostalgic TV show. Hello, Angels. Hi, Charlie. There was a trailer came on the other day on some YouTube deal that I was watching, and it was an old show that was on, and it was absolutely the epitome of just some of the crap that was being made back then. But anybody ever watched the what the heck was it called? I can hear the music, but it was like the greatest American hero or something like that. This guy is a blonde haired guy with like a frizzy, almost like an afro-y type of hairstyle, and he was like a superhero. I think it was Great American Hero or something like that. Oh my gosh. I loved the theme song because I liked the music from that era. But I watched about 3 minutes of an episode here recently and was like, yeah, that's why I don't watch reruns anymore. It's like we we were definitely a lot easier to entertain, I think, back then. We didn't require all the stuff. If it was on TV, we watched it, you know? At my house, we had like 3 channels, and you know, 2 of them didn't come in real clear. Then we upgraded and got one of those automatic turnable antennas for inside. So you had the marks on there, the pre-marked spots for the different channels, and then we could start. We got, I think, a 4th or a 5th channel we started picking up then. All right, I've got a nice little spot right here that I can adjust this base a little bit more. Oh yeah, Alf, there you go. Yeah, I remember that one too. Oh, Mork and Mindy, yeah. No, I remember that one too. Nanu, Nanu. Yeah, that was a shame right there. That man was a comedic genius. He was a little off though, but yeah, absolutely. I watched a deal, they were talking about him, and of course in his younger days, I mean, he had some substance issues with some stuff, but they said there were a lot of times he would go on stage to do a comedy act without much of any kind of idea of what he was going to do, and he just went out and started improvising basically through his whole show. I cannot imagine. Yeah, the Dukes of Hazzard. There you go, Brizzo. Yeah, we had a TV, but like I said, it was one of those that it picked up 3 or 4 channels, and most of them were kind of fuzzy. All right, guys, well, we've got a good start on this. We're to the end of our couple of hours this morning. Haven't lost a whole bunch of it. You know, it's still just a, you know, we started off with a chunk that was about, an 1 1/4 inch, 1.5 inches thick, and about probably a little over 1/2 inch longer than this piece, but just really good. Oh yeah, most of it was improvising. So that's what we've got a nice little preform started. Probably going to make another little Dalton out of this. It looks very Daltonish. If I didn't have these low spots in there, I'd look at because it's pretty flat on this side, I'd look at another Folsom, but I think we're going to make a Dalton out of it. Oh my gosh, Joel, the A-Team. What you talking about, fool? Oh yeah, Rick, was it Friday or Saturday night? It was Friday night, the Love Boat and Fantasy Island. Oh my gosh, my grandparents, that was, when we go down there, we got to stay up late and watch that stuff. Oh my goodness. Zipline, zipline. All right, guys. Well, I appreciate you coming in this morning. I do remember I said something about working a little bit larger blade. Tomorrow I may get out a piece of dark, like of obsidian or a larger piece of material, and we'll try to work on something a little bit bigger. If nothing else, I'll be able to show you the platforms and stuff a little bit easier on a larger piece. So thank you for coming in and spending some time with me this morning. Take care of yourselves and those around you. Keep chipping, and I'll see you in the morning.